Just another Monday. Or was it? The clock blinked 8 a.m, coffee brewed, phones buzzed. Just another Monday at Smith & Sons Accounting. Little did they know things were about to get weird, really weird. Like talking chicken weird. Buckle up, folks, this is going to be good. The air smelled of stale coffee and desperation. But hey, at least it was Casual Friday. Well, every day was Casual Friday for Steve. He couldn't tell khaki from linen if his life depended on it. Bless his heart. Meet Steve. He's one of us. You know the type, always a bit out of sync with the world, but in the most endearing way possible. Steve, our main man, was a nice guy. He had this awkward charm that made him instantly likable, even if he sometimes missed the mark. A bit awkward, sure. But aren't we all? Steve had a knack for finding himself in the most relatable, albeit cringe-worthy situations. He meant well, he really did. His heart was always in the right place, even if his actions sometimes went hilariously awry. He brought donuts every Wednesday. The grocery store was having a sale, but still, it was the thought that counted, and everyone appreciated his effort. He watered the office plant, sometimes with orange juice, but hey, good intentions, right? It was these little quirks that made Steve so memorable. Steve was the kind of guy who tripped up the stairs but somehow managed to catch the falling coffee mug mid-air. It was like he had his own unique brand of clumsy grace. He was a walking disaster, but a lovable one. His mishaps were the stuff of office legend, and they always brought a smile to our faces. He was about to become a whole lot more interesting. Stay tuned, because Steve's story is just getting started, and you won't want to miss what happens next. When life gives you lemons, you turn into a chicken? Remember that weird feeling you get when you eat something funky and your stomach starts doing the tango? Yeah, that's what Steve was feeling. He just scarfed down a tuna sandwich from the office fridge, the one with "do not eat" scribbled on it, in lipstick. Suddenly things got fuzzy. The office spun. Steve felt a warmth spread through his body. He looked down. His hands, were they always that feathery? Was all Steve could manage before everything went black. Section 4, Cluck Cluck Steve, the office reacts. Picture this. You're at your desk, crunching numbers or scrolling through social media, no judgment, when you hear a loud cluck. You look up, there's Steve, or rather, what used to be Steve. There he was, a full-fledged chicken, strutting around the office like he owned the place. The office went silent. Then chaos erupted. Screams, laughter, and the faint smell of burnt popcorn. Brenda on the third floor really needed to lay off the microwave popcorn. Section 5, A Day in the Life of a Chicken. Who used to be Steve? So, there's Steve the chicken, pecking at keyboards, chasing after coffee spills. He always did love his caffeine. And generally causing a feathery frenzy. Steve wasn't always a chicken, you know. He used to be a regular office worker, just like everyone else. But one day something extraordinary happened, and Steve found himself transformed into a chicken. The office was in an uproar, but hey, who needs a stress ball when you have a live chicken on the loose? The sight of Steve flapping his wings and clucking around the office brought a mix of confusion and amusement to his co-workers. He even managed to lay an egg on the boss's chair. Talk about a raised request. The boss, initially startled, couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of the situation. It was a moment that would be talked about for years to come. The day was a blur of clucking, flapping, and bewildered stares. Steve's transformation had turned an ordinary workday into an unforgettable adventure. Through it all, Steve the chicken was living his best life. He embraced his new identity with gusto, finding joy in the simplest of things, like pecking at keyboards and chasing after coffee spills. Who knew being a chicken could be so much fun? Steve's story reminds us that sometimes the most unexpected changes can lead to the most delightful experiences. So next time you see a chicken, remember Steve and his extraordinary day at the office. Section 6. From feathers to slacks, Steve's back, but not without a bang. As quickly as it began, it ended. One moment, the office was in chaos, and the next, everything seemed to return to normal, or at least as normal as it could be after what had just happened. One minute Steve was a chicken, the next he was back to his old, awkward human self. The office cheered, not just because Steve was back, but because the bizarre episode was finally over. It was a sight to behold. the entire office erupting in laughter and relief. Steve, still a bit dazed, looked around and muttered, "Did I miss a meeting?" His colleagues couldn't help but chuckle at his bewildered state. It was as if he had just woken up from a strange dream, only to find himself in an even stranger reality. The only evidence of his feathered fiasco was a single white feather on his desk and a lingering smell of chicken feed. Oh, and the egg. That egg sat there, mocking him, a reminder of his brief stint as a barnyard bird. That darn egg was going to be hard to explain. How do you tell your boss that you laid an egg on company time? Steve scratched his head, trying to come up with a plausible story. Let's just say, Steve learned a valuable lesson that day. Never eat anything from the office fridge, especially if it had a lipstick warning. The lipstick warning was a mystery in itself. But Steve knew better than to question it now. He had learned his lesson the hard way, and he wasn't about to make the same mistake twice. If you liked the story, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more laughter.